Hello. You're listening to Archaeopolitics. What is Archaeopolitics? It is a podcast about the politics in the wizarding world of Harry Potter as we reread chapter by chapter. I am Adri, one of your hosts and a recovering English major, wishing that Texas would please lower its temperature to at least 70 degrees.
That would be nice. Yeah, I'm just ready for fall, to be honest. Get here as
and not
fast
just
as you
because
can.
of the PSL, you know?
I don't even like pumpkin spice. I don't like pumpkin anything. I just need fall weather. I need it in my life. No,
We just
want to be able to wear
nicer weather.
I just want to be able to wear jeans, a sweater, and boots and not be literally like sweating my entire face off.
In shorts, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, I'm Helene, your other host, producer, and fully therapized almost 28-year-old. My birthday is coming up. I believe that the next episode will be released on my birthday, so I will be reminding our listeners one more time because I love my birthday, but my birthday is almost here.
As you should, because birthdays are very important.
Yeah. I mean, as you get older, I feel like, like this year I literally forgot what age I was going to be. I had to ask my parents.
Understood, because I forget all the time.
And they're just like, your birth year, just do the math. And I'm like, oh, you're right.
Oh, wow. You know what? Parents are just the fountain of wisdom here.
Right.
Like,
honestly. Anyway, yeah. Once you get past like 22, I feel like you're every year just like, oh, am I turning 27? Am I turning 26? Am I turning 28? I don't know. I have no idea.
Am I turning 45? Who knows?
It doesn't matter.
Who knows?
They're all just numbers.
40 is the new 20, you know?
Basically.
It is.
Yep.
Oh, man. No, I feel ya. Like, I think it was a couple years ago when I was maybe turning 32, where I was like, wait, am I turning 31? Am I turning 32 or 33? Then I was like, this is a lot. I don't know.
Yep.
I know I'm in my 30s. Okay, guys? I know I'm in my 30s.
Yeah, this year I couldn't remember if I was turning 27 or 28. It turns out I am indeed turning 28. I just, for some reason, could not.
You don't look a day over 18.
I mean, I don't care what age I look, to be honest. I just know that I'm not 30 yet. But I couldn't remember where in between 25 and 30 I was landing. But I just I was going to mention this as part of my media that I've been consuming, but the new season of Bachelor Paradise started last week.
Ooh, I know that you love it.
Bachelor Paradise is one of the best television shows in history. It is amazing. And this season is going to be even better than any other season I've ever seen. But I brought this up because...
Okay, wait. I have a question for you, Helene. I've never watched Bachelor in Paradise. Do I need to watch...
No.
I know. Do I need to watch anything else before I watch that?
So,
or can I just jump in?
I think you can just jump in, but I will say that there's probably like a level of enjoyment that is only able to be reached when you are a little bit more familiarized with the Bachelor franchise.
With the cast, I'm sure.
Yeah, because Bachelor in Paradise takes contestants from all the past seasons and brings them back.
I'm aware of like where they come from, like they cast from previous seasons or whatever.
Yeah. So like I didn't start watching the Bachelor franchise until Becca Kufrin's season, which was a couple years ago. So, but like this season of Bachelor in Paradise, I think I'm enjoying so much because I am so familiar with who all the people that are there are. Like I remember them on their seasons. I remember whether or not I liked them and things like that. However, on the other hand, I did randomly decide to start watching, I think it was like season 4 of Bachelor in Paradise, just because it was on HBO Max and I was bored. And I hadn't seen any of those seasons of The Bachelor before. But I was like, maybe I'll still enjoy it. And I am still enjoying it. So I'm probably not enjoying it as much as I would if I knew the people.
No, I gotcha. It's kind of like watching a Real Housewives franchise where like if you start now, you might be able to enjoy it, but you might be able to enjoy it more if you know like, well, this person is new, this person used to do this,
Right.
like the backstory
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
previous seasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, all this to say, the reason I brought this up is because there is one contestant on this new season of Bachelor in Paradise who is 40, and it's like his thing is that he's 40, but he's like still hot. And the entire first episode, he is naked. The entire episode. It's very weird. But he's like this 40-year-old guy. He's like, yeah, I'm 40, but I'm in shape. Because literally everyone else, there's a couple of guys there that are like in their 30s, but like all the girls are like 25.
Of course they are. Helene, did you not know that you stop being visible after 25?
Yeah, I mean,
as
so
a
like
woman?
that's the thing with the Bachelor franchise too, is that like it used to be geared towards men and women in their 30s. And then as the seasons went on, the like contestants and the, the Bachelor or Bachelorette like started skewing younger and younger and younger. And so like a lot of the seasons there were like 19, 20-year-olds and things like that. And then most recently they've started to try and like shift that back and try to do a little bit older. So a lot of the more recent seasons and this season of Bachelor in Paradise is going to have a lot of younger people, but they're starting to try and skew back older to the, 30s, which I think will make the show better in general.
Well, yeah, I mean, on the one hand, I can see why producers would do it because probably 19-year-olds are easier to control storyline wise and producing wise, because, producers on those reality TV shows basically create all the drama. It's not the people in the show.
Yeah.
But also 19-year-olds are notoriously loose cannons. So
yeah, well the thing is like it kind of defeats the purpose of the Bachelor franchise because the whole point of the show is that they're supposed to want to get engaged and married at the end of it. But once they started skewing younger, I think they realized, oh wow, these people just want to date. They don't want to get married. Like these people aren't looking for a marriage. They're looking for a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And that's when
or
they
they
were like,
just want an F buddy, Like,
yeah, exactly. And
just,
so that's where they're like, oh yeah, maybe we should go back to older, like, in their 30s, the people who are actually looking to get married, because that's the whole point of the show, is to get engaged and get married at the end.
Wait, speaking of fuck buddies, have you watched FBoy Island or FBoy Island as it's known in HBO Max?
I have not watched it. I have heard of it, but I have not watched it.
I am planning to start watching it. So if you want to plan like watch it together, I'm okay with that too.
Yes. I realize that
I've heard really good things.
I've realized that we've now been talking for 10 minutes and haven't said anything about Harry Potter. So we probably...
No, well, guess what, guys? This now is a podcast about reality TV dating shows.
I am sorry for anybody who came for Harry Potter. But we are here to talk about Harry Potter.
Anyway, today we will be talking about chapter número 6, chapter 6 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, titled Draco's Detour.
Yes, we will. All right, so this is the one where Harry, Hermione, and the Weasleys go to Diagon Alley to shop for school supplies, as they do. After a contentious run-in with Draco at Madame Malkin's, the group visits Weasley's Wizard Wheezes for the first time before the trio decides to secretly spy on Draco as he runs a mysterious errand at Borgin and Burke's.
My God, what a chapter.
Yes.
So happy about this chapter. This is also the one where Harry finds out he is Quidditch captain.
Yeah. Wait, didn't that happen in the last chapter?
No, ma'am.
Oh, right, no, because they get their owls in the last chapter. So, okay, I get confused because obviously I wasn't on the episode last week. Thank you so much, Anne, for coming.
I was like, so typical of Helene.
I will explain.
To not be able to do the chapter where Ginny is not being her best self.
I know. Well, I mean, she's not pretty. She has some bad moments in this chapter too, but no,
but they're kind of cute, like not like last chapter.
Yeah. Anyway, so the reason that it's I'm so confused about what happens in what chapter, and I was scared this was going to happen, was because I wasn't on the last chapter. I sat.
You listened to both for tonight.
Yeah, I read both chapters back to back, 5 and 6, before doing this episode, and I was like trying to like hammer down in my brain where one ended and the next one started, so this wouldn't happen. But it didn't work.
It's okay. It's okay. We're making it through. It's okay. All right. So, but before we get to Hogwarts Debate Club, let's go into Potter Watch, because Miss Helene, you have something to talk about this week.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to bring it up because I feel like, it's a huge thing that's happening in the world right now. Really is impacting the United States in terms of, national relations and things like that. It felt like we'd be remiss not to at least bring it up. But as probably most of you have heard by now, the Taliban is taking control back in Afghanistan after the US troops have withdrawn after 20 years of being in Afghanistan.
Well, and one of the reasons why the Taliban have taken control is because the previous president did give an executive order back in November when he was trying to upset the election results for the troops to leave by January 15. And if you remember everything from back in November and December, Emily from GSA did not want to certify the election. So Biden couldn't get into the transition and get all the briefings. So, poorly prepared for this transition and didn't get all the security briefings. And the Taliban took that time to start bribing officials on the ground in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's more complicated than anyone even believes it to be, right? And so there's a lot of stuff that we know now, way after the fact, that we didn't know before, and it just seems like we shouldn't have been there for that long anyway.
Right.
But this was done in Republicans trying to block Democrats from looking good too. So
yeah, there's a lot that kind of goes into this. I know that it's a really nuanced issue. It's been going on obviously for a really long time. President Joe Biden did a press conference. I think it was today, or maybe it was yesterday. I think it was yesterday actually, that talked about this. And mainly, I think the big takeaways were that when we were in Afghanistan, we gave them, the tools that they needed. We gave them the training that they needed. We helped them build an army to fight off the Taliban from taking over and doing this to them again. But the thing that we couldn't give them was the will to fight. And I think President Biden's thought process is we can set them up for success, but if they don't, in the end, don't want it badly enough, there's nothing we can do about it. Which also
you does control people.
Yeah, and yeah. That whole narrative does kind of come off a little bit of victim blaming, a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely see the problematic parts of that. It's just a very nuanced issue, and you see people like President Trump who literally was trying to take credit for pulling the troops out of Afghanistan after he left office, now literally flipping it on its head and saying President Biden's such an idiot for pulling the troops out of Afghanistan. Look what happened. We never should have done it in the first place. But he was literally trying to take credit for the idea himself less than 6 months ago. So it's all just very it's just it's just a lot to take in, a lot to process, and there isn't really, I don't think, one person or administration really fully at fault right now.
I mean, the only administration that I feel fully has the fault is the one that started the war anyway.
Right, yeah.
So the Bush administration has really fucked us over the last 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's much more history and kind of details that we can get into in this conversation, but
I know, but I think we should move on.
Yes.
Sadly,
yes, there's more to be said about it.
I know enough to talk about it like briefly, but not enough to
Yes.
confidently say,
yeah,
I know more than this, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about it. I will say, if you are kind of looking to learn a bit more, I personally found, so Stephen Colbert, I watch the Late Show with Stephen Colbert every day, and he covered this in his monologue from yesterday, August 17th. And he has never talked about the war in Afghanistan. He's never talked about the Taliban or any of that on his show before. But he took last night to do it for the first time. And his coverage was extremely like well-rounded and intriguing and entertaining, and but also informative. So if you want
The best
like
of all the worlds.
exactly. So if you want like a good summary kind of like what's going on and how, and kind of like help somebody to help you process how you think you should be, you know, viewing this information and absorbing this information, I suggest checking that out.
Also, please don't go on YouTube and watch QAnon videos.
No.
Thank you.
Please don't ever do that.
Please don't. Like, you are not a 60-year-old, hopefully, you know,
Yes.
living isolated from your family and watching Fox News. I hope that's none of our listeners.
Yes. Well, now that we've had that short detour away from Potter yet again, we're coming back to Potter because that is what we're here for.
Oh, because you know what? No matter the detour, all roads lead to Potter.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So let's go on to Hogwarts Debate Club, which is where Helene and I discuss which politic we picked for this chapter and kind of define it before we get into our deep dive. So, Helene, I'm going to go first this week.
Do it.
My politic for this chapter, because it was really hard for me to like pin one down, is the politics of commodities. And by commodities, I mean the selling of goods in this chapter, like the robes, the books, the product lines, and the joke shop. The Weasley twins like have this additional line of products that capitalizes on security concerns at the ministry, while the other lines of products cater to the escapism that people seek, especially in troubled times.
Yeah, they really have both markets cornered, don't they?
They are geniuses, which is why they obviously wrote that acclaimed book from broke to joke.
Yes, the amazing book that we capitalized on ourselves.
I mean, the cover is glorious, and the foreword is by one Harry Potter.
Oh,
so
definitely, yeah. No, this is a good one. For this chapter, there's a lot of any chapter we get like surrounding Diagon Alley is very capitalism based. I guess the politic could have been capitalism.
Yes, I that was one of the things that I thought about, but I wanted to drill down a little bit further.
Right.
Than just capitalism, which is like a blanket.
It's just very,
I could just do like
broad.
Like a blanket term of like the politics of power and capitalism and how we see that in the entire series of Harry Potter. Like that could be a dissertation.
Right. Exactly.
Because it's broad enough but specific enough. How about you? What did you think about?
Yeah, so this week I went with public security, which is defined as the function of governments which ensures the protection of citizens, persons in their territory, organizations, and institutions against threats to their well-being. Basically, what kind of resonated a lot with me in this chapter is like we see the entire public, including, the Weasley clan specifically, but then also all the wizarding community, once we get to Diagon Alley, just like really concerned with public safety and making sure that everybody is on high alert from, Voldemort and his followers. So we see lots of security measures being taken by the Ministry of Magic, such as like guidelines.
Finally.
Right. Right. Such as like guidelines and tips to help ensure that everyone's well-being during the height of this power struggle that's going on is protected.
Honestly, it's just like COVID. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Cool. Like 250,000 people have died. I guess we'll institute masks.
Yeah, public safety, public security. Yeah, they're both kind of. I think I Googled public safety, and the definition for public security came up. Is what came up. So like they're both basically the same.
I think they're definitely the same. I really like that politic as well because I can see also how that one kind of threads with mine throughout the entire chapter.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's go into our deep dive. Helene, what was the quote or moment that made you think this is definitely about public security or public safety?
Yeah, mine's a little bit longer, but the quote that I went with is, so, Diagon Alley had changed. The colorful, glittering window displays of spellbooks, potion ingredients, and cauldrons were lost to view, hidden behind the large Ministry of Magic posters that had been pasted over them. Most of these somber purple posters carried blown-up versions of the security advice on the Ministry pamphlets that had been sent out over the summer. But others had moving black and white photographs of Death Eaters known to be on the loose.
Okay, Helene, I am going to like sidetrack for a second here, but you know what that visualization made me think about was pop-up ads in, in websites.
Yeah. I could see that. I can see it, yeah.
Kind of like you're trying to get to a product and there's like a pop-up of like, are you
protecting yourself against are you protecting yourself against the Dark Lord? Exactly.
Exactly. And then you can't exit out because it's like a video and you're like trying to exit out and it's like...
Or it's like one of those YouTube ads that's like you have to wait 15 seconds before you can hit skip or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, you know, those like annoying pop-up ads that like you like close one and another pops up somewhere like or like in the banner in the side of the website you're looking at.
Exactly. Yeah, so that was my quote or moment. What about you? What about for Commodities? What quote or moment stood out for you?
All right, so this is when they're already at the Weasleys' shop. George swept off through the curtain to help with the customers, and Fred lit Harry back into the main part of the shop to find Hermione and Ginny still poring over the patented daydream charms. "Haven't you girls found our special Wonder Witch products yet?" asked Fred. "Follow me, ladies." Near the window was an array of violently pink products around which a cluster of excited girls was giggling enthusiastically. Hermione and Ginny both hung back, looking wary.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a controversial part of the book, too. Part of the chapter.
Yes, because it's about love potions.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I was thinking a lot about in this chapter was like the escapism of the daydream charms, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It looks a little bit like romance novels to me, like you're in a pirate ship and whatever. Like it was like almost like Fabio is on the cover of these daydream charms.
Yeah, Fabio. Literally.
Just like, you know, like this is a 90s romance book reference.
Honestly.
What? It's true. This is supposed to be the 90s.
I know, I agree. It's just a funny visualization, yes.
Oh my goodness. So I was thinking about that and I was like, that's like really smart of them to, you know, do like these very escapist daydream charms when like people are wanting to escape the reality of like, well, the Dark Lord is back, you know, like that's not something that you want to ponder on all the time. And if you can escape into a different reality, then you would want that. Right. And even Hermione's like, well, this is absolutely great magic. Like she's even like really like in awe of the twins and they overhear this and yeah, and they overhear it's like just for that you get one for free. Like,
I mean, it's really like it's a feat to get a compliment like that from Hermione. It is
exactly, and so. And the Weasley twins have done really well into catering and cornering both markets, both the ones that want to escape from reality and the ones who want to protect themselves against the reality.
Yeah.
Well, I guess escapism is also a way of protecting your brain from it, but like they're talking about like physical protection charms and things like that, like shields. So they have like both markets cornered, which is like very astute of them.
Yeah.
And they're making money off of this, which is funny because they won't let Ron get stuff for free, but Harry for sure will, because he gave them their startup
Well, I also
money.
think that they get some sort of like deranged pleasure from just being named Ron.
Oh, perverse pleasure from, yes, for sure. Yeah, because Ron is the little brother. That's part of the the deal, right? And yeah, so I was just thinking about like how consumerism kind of meets us at times where, I mean, consumerism is a part of our lives, period, right?
Right.
And commodities, but how it often increases when we're going through hard times because we want a way to escape or protect ourselves from it. And it reminded me of how many people were like super pissed off about the newest season of Grey's Anatomy because it was all about COVID.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, hey guys, we're already living it. We don't want to see it on TV again.
Yeah, escapism versus then there's the other people out there that are like, we should probably, this is something that we as a society need to unpack, and doing it through fiction is probably a good way to do it.
Yes, of course, but most people were not having
No,
it,
yeah.
you know?
No, most people.
Okay.
Controversial.
Yeah, so when you're thinking about the politics of like security or safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you thinking about as a character?
Yeah, for this, I kind of went back and forth between Mr. and Mrs. Weasley,
Okay.
because Mr. Weasley is like the ministry official who, knows the measures being taken, knows the laws, knows exactly like what needs to be done, and takes everything very seriously and upholds them all for the safety of his family. While Mrs. Weasley is like the one who is, she's also taking it very seriously, but like she's like showing the need for this public safety because she's so worried about her family. Like she's showing the anxiety and worry that comes with the uncertainty of like where the world is right now. And so I ended up going with Mr. Weasley because, he has like that official knowledge. He works for the ministry. And not only does he know about the measures that need to be taken, but he does take them very seriously. Like in the last chapter where he required Mrs. Weasley to, have them do their passwords or whatever before he could come into the burrow.
It was the cutest thing ever.
Yes.
I loved it.
Yes. It's just like that's a measure of public safety. Just like, nowadays in the pandemic land, public safety is, wearing your mask and enforcing that other people wear their mask, or telling people to get vaccinated. Like a person who works for the CDC is probably going to take those very seriously, just like Mr. Weasley. Things like that.
One would hope.
Yes.
One would hope.
Yes.
So for me, the characters who like portrayed the politics of commodities or consumerism obviously were the twins.
Yeah.
But I could see how like so many characters would fit that politic.
Mm-hmm.
Even Mr. Weasley had seen like someone peddling some stuff in Diagon Alley, and he was like, if I were working, I would definitely look into this because there's so many like defective items that are being sold to unsuspecting people. And that's part of his job now.
Yeah. No, I mean that's true. That is part. His job is persecuting people who are taking advantage of the commodities and like the need for commodities.
Of the fear, like they're taking advantage of fear and selling commodities that don't work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Very well said. But I understand why you picked the twins, especially in the context of this chapter, like what's on the surface.
Because there's such a big presence anyway in any chapter they are, especially in this one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so throughout the book, how do you see the politics of security or safety?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of thought about the things we've seen so far because I don't remember exactly how else we see it throughout the book. In the future for the chapters we haven't read yet, but yeah, like so far we've seen the pamphlets in the chapter where Harry was at the Dursleys. He had all those pamphlets open, and we were talking about like paywalls because we didn't get to read all of the things. So like we see all of the public safety measures and concerns and stuff that the ministry is doing in that chapter, and then as I just mentioned recently, Mr. Weasley like asking security questions, and I believe we do see that both in like later in this book and next book, where like they ask each other questions that only that person would know to like make sure that that person isn't like being impersonated or anything like that. So.
Or, polyjuice potioned, right, as it is obviously the real term.
Right.
So throughout the book, I was thinking like we've already kind of touched on this, like that danger lurks, but commodities are just as important as ever, even within these quote unquote troubled times. Like, how many of us did not like did like shop online through the pandemic and we're like, we'll wear this eventually.
I mean,
because we're just trying to soothe our soul.
Talk about commodities of the pandemic. Like, I think of toilet paper and like and like Clorox wipes.
But have you seen that meme where it's like, have you seen that meme where it's like a pope with like a pet dragon, like a Renaissance painting or a medieval painting? I don't remember which one it is. And it's like me when I get out of the pandemic with all my online purchases.
True. Yeah. No, I haven't seen that, but that is accurate.
Okay, I'll send you this meme because it's one of my favorite memes. But like, that's how I feel. I'm like, I have bought like shoes and like blouses and shit. And I'm like, yeah, but yet here I am in my house within the pandemic, right? Like in my sweats and leggings.
Yep.
When the fuck am I going to wear all this fancy clothes that I got myself?
I mean, fair
if this continues. But like we talked about earlier, Arthur's job is to make sure that people don't get swindled by like snake oil salesmen who promise and underdeliver because they're just out to like make that quick buck.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's kind of how I was thinking about like commodities and consumerism. In fact, like the entire series, I know even if we're at Hogwarts, okay, you have to buy books and you have to buy robes and you have to, there's certain things that you have to do. And in this chapter, like even Charlie was like, hey, it's really hard to get into your vaults nowadays. I just brought you your money.
Yeah, no, Bill, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Bill. I am definitely not on myself today. But yes, thank you. One of those Weasley redheads, Yeah,
one of those guys.
All right. So speaking of things that are terrible, like my memory, let's go over to Dementors and chocolate, where we talk about what we didn't like in the chapter or what was terrible, again, like my memory, and what was nice, like Helene, a chocolate.
Aw, gotta love being compared to chocolate. What was your Dementor this chapter? Did you have one?
Unsurprisingly, it is related to the Malfoys.
Okay, yeah. No, I had a hard time picking because this was also a very not happy part of the chapter.
So I even put the quote in because I just needed to say it as Narcissa said it,
Yep.
It's all right, Draco, said Narcissa, restraining him with her thin white fingers upon his shoulder. I expect Potter will be reunited with dear Sirius before I am reunited with Lucius.
Yeah, I mean, remember when Narcissa was like my chocolate earlier in this book? Like, bitch, this is just like the main reason why she is this just reminds all of us that she is an awful, horrible human being. Like,
bitch. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah.
Bitch.
No, this was awful. Like, I'm like sitting here reading this part of the chapter thinking like, okay, this is a like 45-year-old woman, like 40, 50-year-old woman. And she is having this conversation with a 16
wait, I don't think she's 40 or 50 because remember, in this universe, they breed young.
Oh, that's true. Maybe she's like 30.
Maybe 36.
Yeah, 30, 40. Around there.
She's maybe like around my age, like 36.
Okay.
But still, I wouldn't talk to a 16-year-old like that.
She's talking to a 16-year-old boy. This is like ridiculous.
What the fuck is wrong with her?
I know, she's an awful human being.
Anyway, that was my Dementor. What was yours?
Mine was actually something that happened while they were at the twins' store. We're talking about love potions, and let me see. Actually, I kind of want to read the now that I'm thinking about it, I think I might want to read the quote. So this is my Dementor. I will also read a quote because you read a quote, and I think that this is a good way to do it. So. There you go, said Fred proudly. Best range of love potions you'll find anywhere. Ginny raised an eyebrow skeptically. Do they work? She asked. Certainly they work, for up to 24 hours at a time, depending on the weight of the boy in question and the attractiveness of the girl, said George.
So two physical traits. Great.
Yeah, I read that and I like had to do a double take. I was like, what? Like, first of all,
I was like,
how did I not ever like notice this before? And secondly, like the audacity.
Helene, do you not know this is a theme? Do you not know that this is a theme with us? Like, how did I not notice this before?
Yeah. So, yeah, basically, my dementor is the fact that, you know, not only do love potions exist in the wizard world, which fucked up on its own, but the fact that their effectiveness is dependent on the weight of the consumer and the attractiveness of the object of affection. So if
not the object of the attractiveness of the person supplying the potion to the person.
Right. Sorry, yes. Well, no, the object. So the object of the person. So like when you give a love potion to someone, then you become the object of their affection.
No, I get it now. Yeah. It's just in my mind, it sounded like the object of affection was the one taking the potion.
Yeah, no, sorry, I meant So so if you give a love potion to an overweight human, and you yourself are not like conventionally attractive, the chances of that love potion is like 0. I don't get it. Like
no, or like the effectiveness will be like, oh, it'll last like 12 hours instead of 24 or whatever. Yeah. And instead of him being like hopelessly in love with you, he'd just be a little bit in love with you. I don't understand.
No, it's fucked up. It's awful. I cannot believe that this is part of the canon.
Well, okay. First of all, there's like the consent issue, which is big dementor, right? And because you're, doping someone without their consent. And then on top of that, you have like, oh, the effectiveness depends on like all these superficial factors. And it's like, what the fuck? So they're saying that
like if an ugly, like quote unquote ugly girl gives a love potion to like a really hot guy, it might not work as well, because like how fucked up is it? It's so sorry. It's so it enraged me when I read that, because I was like, how is this is real? This is in the book. Anyway.
Yeah, this is canon, guys. This is canon. Well, let's move on, because my blood pressure can't take more.
True. Sorry.
Remember, I'm old now. Blood pressure is a real thing. Let's go and lower our collective blood pressure with the chocolates, or what we liked or made us laugh in this chapter. The thing that made me laugh more in this chapter than anything else is, why are you worrying about you-know-who? You should be worrying about you-know-poo, the constipation sensation that's gripping the nation.
I know. When I saw that you wrote this in the chocolate part of the notes, I was like, oh my God, how did I not write that? Because that is the best part of the chapter.
And I was like,
I think about that line, the constipation sensation that's gripping the nation. Like that plays in my head every once in a while.
This lives rent free in my head all the time. Like, and every time I read it, I laugh the same way I laughed the first time I read it.
Maybe Dumbledore took you-know-poo when he was at Hogwarts.
Well, I was gonna say, Helene, this is like your second episode in a row, because you skipped, last episode, where there is like one reference to a bathroom, because Hermione says, oh, now you can use the prefect's bathroom, true. Harry. And the you-know-poo. And I was like, I was thinking like, I'm definitely going to put this as my chocolate, because I need to remind Helene about the Dumbledore pooping.
Yeah, maybe he accidentally took you-know-poo, and that's why he was in the bathroom for so long. Oh my God. It comes full circle.
It is the constipation sensation.
That's gripping the nation. It's come full circle, guys. This was the best chocolate. This was the chocolate of the chapter. I did have something else. It's not as good, but I'll say it anyway.
Okay, go ahead.
My chocolate this chapter that I wrote down was Hermione's true Gryffindor showing, when she just like straight up walks right into Borgin and Burke's at the end of the chapter, and to try and figure out what item Draco was reserving. Like she's not even scared. She's like, yep, I'm just gonna go figure it out. And she got a plan. Ladies got a plan.
We live in dangerous times. She doesn't need to think about the rules that hard.
It just seems like kind of out of character for Hermione, at least like from, younger Hermione. She's really coming into her own. She's really like, I got a plan. I'm going to get it done.
Well, he also called her the M word earlier on in this chapter.
True. So. She's like not having it. So yeah, I just, mad respect.
Yeah, let's fight fire with fire, you guys. That's the Gryffindor way. See, this is how I know that even though I'm a reluctant Gryffindor, I'm like, yes, I approve of this message.
That's why the Gryffindor colors are the colors of fire.
Yeah, because we are fiery people.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of fiery people, you know who are the best people? Patrons. Because they keep the show going. And if you would also love to keep the show going and also get like extra bonus content for every episode, you should head over to patreon.com/Occupolitics.
$2 a month is going to get you access to some sweet bonus content every episode, including this episode where I'm going to tell everybody a little bit about a special thing called Rappaport's Law.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, so buckle in because that story is crazy. And then $5 and $10 month tiers are going to get you that plus physical rewards, just like some sweet stickers that just started arriving for patrons recently. Check out our social media. Some patrons have already started sharing the stickers that have arrived in the mail for them, and I think they're excited, so gotta go check it out.
I mean, those holographic stickers look bomb.
They really, really do. I cannot wait to receive my own in the mail.
It's on its way.
I'm very excited.
Also, not only did they get stickers, you guys, they got like a little greeting card with extendable ears.
Oh, so cute.
And it was pretty cute, if I do say so myself. All right. But last week, well, Helene was indisposed and we had the wonderful Anne from Speak Beastie. We had a question for our listeners. And that question was, what does Ginny tell herself to make it acceptable for her to openly dislike Fleur so much?
Yeah, we got a couple of really good answers this week. Thank you guys so much again for telling us your thoughts. We just love reading them. So I'll go ahead and share a couple that we had. Most of these came from Instagram. So if it seems like Instagram's a pretty popular place to answer the question. So head over to Instagram. Accupolitics is our handle if you want to follow us there.
Yeah, we are at Accupolitics everywhere. Yes. We have consistent branding.
We do. I love that about us. I love that for us. So some of the answers that we got over on Instagram today, or for this week, is AP That's Me, which is our beautiful, wonderful editor, Allison. She said, Ginny can be sassy and goofy like the twins at times, and I think when they're all together, it's a bit of a mob mentality / teen mentality of doing before thinking. I'm sure it all started with a few jokes here and there and snowballed into the nasty comments. As a Ginny fan myself, I hope it's just something she gets wrapped up into and not something she actively thinks of or justifies. I like this answer.
I think that you agree with her.
I agree. As a Ginny fan, I like this answer. Yep.
Okay.
And so then we also got an answer from Bree723, and they said, I believe that even in the wizarding world, women are in competition with other women. It's like there wasn't room for her. Just because a woman is different from you does not make her bad. Yeah, I mean, I think that
I agree.
This entire thing is, the author's internalized misogyny poking through a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, we got some answers from listener Dream Quaffle. And they said, just a couple, here are some, POVs from Ginny. She's mean to my mom. Or, all she cares about is how much prettier she is than everyone else. So that's kind of like to help put you in Ginny's shoes. But then their real answer is, she disrespected Ginny's school, dissed one brother, married the other, that rhymes, and then showed up and starts talking down to the rest of her family in their own home while thinking she's so great and so pretty. I'm not a Fleur hater, but in her position, I might have acted the same way that she did.
Well, it's like that interloper mentality is like, who does she think she is coming into this house, you know?
Yeah, and it's probably, there might be like something lost in translation. It might be like, cultural differences between, British people and French people. But I'm sure that Ginny is reading some of Fleur's personality as like rudeness or like
And it's probably
superiority.
just like,
Yeah, like she probably thinks that she sees it as like a superiority complex when really Fleur is just, being French. I don't know.
she's just being direct. She's just speaking her mind, and she doesn't mean like maybe anything bad by it. Just like, that's just my
Maybe
opinion, man. You can take it or
maybe we
leave
should
it.
get one of our beautiful hosts over at Speak BC that co-hosts with Anne as well as myself. Her name is Marjolaine, and she's French. So maybe we should get her over here one episode to talk about Fleur in terms of French stereotypes and things like that. I think that might be interesting.
Oh, and Madame
Yeah,
Maxime too.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, got to get Marjo over here.
All right, so for this week, I think we have a pretty fun question, and that is, listeners, what would your shopping list look like if you had the luck to visit Weasley's Wizard Wheezes?
Yes, what would you buy first? What would be the first thing on your list? What do you have to have from that store if you could visit it in real life?
I mean, I definitely think I would get one of those puffy things. What
Oh,
are they
Pygmy
called?
Puffs?
Yes,
Yeah, they're super cute.
they seem cute.
Man, I'd have to give it a I have to
I
think
mean,
about it. Maybe I'll answer on next week's episode because I got to give it some
ooh,
thought.
very exciting. Yeah, give it some thought, and then maybe I'll give it some more thought, but I don't think I'll change
No, I
my
think I would
mind.
also want a Pygmy Puff as well. But that, like, there has to be there'd be
Like,
other things too.
they remind me of, like, Clueless, like those little Cher's, like,
Yeah.
pen that has, like, the little puffy thing at the
Yes.
top. That's how I imagine them anyway. Just let me live in
I have
my
one that
fantasy world.
I bought from, Universal, but I would want a real one.
Obviously a
Yeah.
real one, yeah. I mean, I do have 3 small dogs, so I guess I have kind of
Right,
a
right.
Pygmy Puff. Who knows? All right, so Helene, it's time to talk about the media we've been consuming.
Yes.
Tell me.
Okay, I'll go first. I already mentioned Bachelor in Paradise at the top, but the main one that I wanted to shout out was a show that we started working on at my job. I work as a social media like coordinator for television shows and movies. And one of our newer clients is we've been doing a lot of DC shows, and there was one that I hadn't seen yet, but they asked us to start working on it, and I was like, I should probably watch this so I know like what the heck is going on. And so I started watching it for work, but now I like love it. So it's called Doom Patrol, and
Okay.
it is on HBO Max. It's a DC show. Really, like you won't have heard of any of the people in it except for Cyborg, which most people have heard of Cyborg. He's the only one that's like known
Mhm,
throughout
mhm.
the DC universe, but it is the most bizarre, weird, delightful show. It's
Okay, this seems like right up
yeah,
my
it is
alley.
very, very strange, but it has an amazing cast, and it breaks the fourth wall, which I love. And it has like Alan Tudyk is in it, if you know him. Brendan Fraser is in it,
Ooh,
and Matt Bomer is in it.
I love Matt
Yeah, it's a
Bomer.
great, great cast, and it's funny because both Matt Bomer and Brendan Fraser play like characters where you don't actually see their faces ever. So you wouldn't know that they're
Right.
playing them. Like, well, I guess okay. You probably Matt Bomer. You see his face more often than you see Brendan Fraser's, but like, really, you wouldn't really know that it's them. It's which is great.
To cover a face like Matt
I know.
Bomer's is a crime.
I
It's a hate
I know.
crime.
Yeah, he's a beautiful
It's a
man.
HIPAA
He's a
violation.
very beautiful man. Yes. But yeah, it's wonderfully weird and just very. It's just so good. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it is, and I highly recommend it. First two seasons are on HBO Max. Season 3 is coming out in September, and yeah, I'm posting to social media for it right now for my job. So if you follow them on social media, like, hi, that's me.
Please retweet
um,
and keep Helene with a job.
exactly. Yeah. So it's just
keep Helene employed is the motto of this podcast.
Yeah. No, it's a fun project to be working on, and check it out. It's the first episode. You'll just be like, what the hell did I just watch? I have to keep watching because I need to know more.
And that is the perfect entryway into any show or novel. Like, what the hell is happening here? I need to know more.
Exactly. Yeah. And then as far as plugs, I just wanted to plug that I will be on the next episode of Speak Beastie, which is going to be coming out on August 22nd. And I believe that is a day before this episode airs. So by the time you guys are listening to this, that episode of Speak Beastie will be out. So go check it out. It's fun. We talk about Bunty. And it's a good time.
Well, I haven't been watching anything new, but I have been watching or continuing to watch The Mentalist on Amazon Prime because all 7 seasons or 8, whatever, how many ever seasons there were of the show are on Prime. And I am now on season 5, and it's kind of like a comfort watch, kind of in the same way like this is gonna sound really bad. See, I'm just like the stereotype of a 45-year-old already, like in the same way cozy murder mysteries are. Also, I just love the character that Simon Baker plays because he's like chaotic good, you know?
Yeah.
And he just like does whatever, but he's still like deep down good or maybe neutral-ish.
Okay.
And his quips, he's just so funny. Like, sadly, I've gotten to the point in watching it where I can predict what he will say next or what would happen next, which is a curse and a blessing at the same time that I'm often burdened with. And I burden also everyone who watches shows with me with it. So my poor husband. Anyway, that's where I'm at.
Oh, goodness.
But as I said earlier in the show, I am planning to watch FBoy Island on HBO Max. I've heard really good things. So Helene, join me if you want in this journey of watching FBoy Island.
Okay. I have to think about it. I usually do not tend to like the only franchise of things that I like that tends to be like reality.
Oh no. P.S. People who like The Bachelor have loved this show is why I think you'll like it.
Okay, I'll have to.
I haven't started watching it, so I can't tell you for sure, but I've heard really, really good things about it.
Okay. Good to know.
Well, that's it. That's it for the show.
Yeah.
You can join us next week when we'll be talking about Chapter 7 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And this one's titled The Slug Club.
Yep. Wonder what that one's about.
Slug Club.
Wonder what that one's all about. Well, if you've enjoyed this conversation, please take a second to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or wherever you happen to be listening to us right now. As I've mentioned in every episode, giving us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts does allow and help other listeners and future podcast lovers to find this show and also listen to us and also give us 5-star ratings on Apple Podcasts. It's a whole cycle. So just help us out. We would really appreciate it. Thanks.
Well, and if you also feel like after doing that 5-star review, you want to tell all your friends about us, highly encouraging that as well.
Yeah. We also encourage all of that, please.
We encourage you to do all that hot goss about us. Only if it's good, though. Anyway, until then, politics managed. Support this show by going to patreon.com/Akiopolitics. Our patrons keep this show going. You can find us online at akiopolitics.com, and we are at Akiopolitics on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can email us your thoughts at info@akiopolitics.com. Leave us a voicemail at 915-996-1699. and you might just hear yourself on the podcast. Adriana Wilson is the founder and creative director of the podcast. Helene Karp is the producer and social media manager. Allison Pullman is the audio wizard and editor who makes us sound so good. Cover art and physical rewards are designed by Adriana Wilson. The views expressed by the hosts and guests are expressly their own and not representative of their employers or associates. Accio Politics is part of the MuggleNet family of podcasts.